I think we've all had a laugh with Eddie Hearn putting his foot in it over the years, where he says he'll never do something, and then a couple years later, or sometimes just a couple months or weeks later, he goes ahead and does that exact thing that he said he'd never do. There are a few compilation videos floating around about it. It's pretty funny. But in this instance, we've got Frank Warren putting his foot in it because Mr. Warren has for so many years been talking about his desire to do it for the fans, to please the fans. It's all for the fans. He cares so much about us. This is a guy who used to constantly bang on about how terrible it was that Eddie Hearn was working with StubHub. But hasn't Frank Warren been working with these secondary ticket companies in the past few years? You guys tell me. He also used to criticize Sky and Eddie Hearn for doing too many pay-per-views. And he would say that pay-per-views should be reserved for the absolute mega fights. But here we have Frank Warren putting on Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora 3, not only on pay-per-view, but charging £27 for it. So which fans are you looking out for here, Frank? Exactly. Definitely not people like me. Bear in mind, I bought all 3 Fury Wilder pay-per-views, and I bought Fury versus Dillian Whyte, but I would never in a million years pay for this fight. So you're not looking out for people like me. So who are you looking out for then? The Fury fanboys? The Chisora fanboys? Do they see this as great value and think that you're looking out for them? Charging £27 for Fury Chisora 3? Now look, for the people out there who are actually going to buy this fight, I've got no problem with you buying the fight. It's your money. Do what you want with it. If you want to pay money to watch Fury Chisora 3 or some YouTuber fight or Anthony Joshua have a rematch with Gary Cornish, I don't care. My intention here is just to hold Frank Warren to his word. That's all it is. Now, I don't know whether Frank Warren actually has any control over the pay-per-view price or whether a fight is going to be pay-per-view at all. I'm open to the possibility that BT decides all that. But yet he was still happy to jump on Eddie Hearn for putting subpar cards on pay-per-view, wasn't he? He didn't try and be reasonable and say, oh, well, it might not be Eddie Hearn's decision. It could be Sky, the people above him. Maybe he doesn't want to charge the fans extra for this card. No, we didn't get any of that from Frank Warren. All we got was, this is a disgrace. They shouldn't be putting cards like this on pay-per-view. On BT, it's only going to be the very biggest fights that would ever go on pay-per-view. This is what we were getting from the guy. But ultimately, when it comes to what gets put on pay-per-view, the buck doesn't actually stop with the broadcaster or the promoter. Do you know who the buck really stops with and who's really to blame for all this? It's the main event fighters. Because a fight being on pay-per-view is dictated by the purses that the main event fighters are demanding. That's what it's all about. If the main event fighters are happy to significantly reduce their purses, then it doesn't have to be on pay-per-view. And that brings us on to Mr. Fury. Because here we have a guy who, again, like his promoter Frank Warren, claims to be a man of the people and he's all about doing it for the fans and it's not about the money. And he said he wanted to fight AJ for free. You know, both guys would do it for free and not take a purse, and they'd let all the people into the stadium for free, not sell a ticket, show it on free-to-air television. This is the kind of stuff that Fury has been saying just in the past year. That same guy who his fans certainly believe is this man of the people, they buy into all that nonsense. He is charging you £27 to watch him fight a guy that he's beaten comfortably twice before. So that's your man of the people. That's your cares so much about the fans and he's willing to fight for free and gives his purses away to the homeless, allegedly. That's your Tyson Fury for you. You know, the tragedy here, if you can call it that, is that the Fury fanatics can't seem to figure out that he's actually mugging them off. That's what he's doing. The stuff this guy comes out with is just such utter nonsense when it comes to all the man of the people business and not caring about money, giving his purses away. I mean, are you having a laugh? But as P.T. Barnum once said, a sucker is born every minute. Tyson Fury has cultivated an army of suckers into following him and hanging on his every word and believing all the nonsense that comes out of his mouth. And he is exploiting that by way of charging them £27 to watch him fight a guy who he's already beat comfortably twice before. And I've got no sympathy for these people, by the way. When I say it's a tragic situation, I'm being sarcastic, obviously. My objective is just to highlight what's going on here. to point out the fact that Tyson Fury and Frank Warren are not living up to their word by way of being men of the people and doing it for the fans. Again, I'd like to hear from the Fury or Chisora fanatics. Do you see this being charged £27 to watch your hero as being looked after, being looked out for, being given great value? You let me know. All I can tell you is many boxing fans who, like myself, paid for previous Tyson Fury pay-per-views won't be buying this one. They'll be streaming it. And I have to imagine it will be something similar for AJ's next fight, depending on who he actually faces. If he were to fight an Areola or somebody like that, and they're going to charge pay-per-view for it on DAZN, surely a lot of people are just going to stream it. And I'm talking about people who bought many of AJ's previous pay-per-views. I did a video about that a few weeks ago. How, for my money, and I'm literally talking about the money in my pocket, AJ's not pay-per-view worthy at this stage, coming off 2 losses. And it's not just the fact that AJ has lost a couple times and he's got no belts. It's also the fact that in those Usyk fights, he didn't lay it all on the line. He didn't fight that big man fight that he needed to do to win. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, if there is a scenario where I would still pay to watch someone who's coming off 2 losses, it would have to be someone who I know is going to fight to the best of their ability. They're going to leave it all in the ring. They're not going to be cautious and hesitant. That's the bare minimum that I would expect if I'm going to pay for some fight where the guy is coming off 2 losses. Bare minimum. And of course, the opponent would have to be good enough. But if you want to hear me talk more about that, go and watch the video I did, again, a few weeks ago, talking specifically about why, for my money, AJ is not pay-per-view anymore at this stage. He can get back up to that level if he gets the right wins and he's entertaining enough. But for my money, not right now. If you want to hear me talk more about that, go watch that video. But let me know what you guys think about the Tyson Fury and Frank Warren situation that I've highlighted in this video. Let me know. If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.